One spilled glass of milk was all it took to silence the most dangerous man in New York City, and his impossible daughter. Not a gun. Not a threat. Not $1 million. Just one poor waitress with holes in her shoes and nothing left to lose, who finally did what nobody dared. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. She did not run. She did not apologize. She did not bow her head. She looked the little girl dead in the eye and said 4 words that made the most dangerous man in New York City go completely silent. Nobody had ever done that before. Nobody had ever dared. You need to understand something about Aria Ferraro before this story makes sense. She was 8 years old. She weighed maybe 40 pounds. She wore her black hair in 2 neat braids and her dresses always had white buttons. And she had destroyed the lives of 6 adults in 4 months. The first nanny lasted 9 days. She left in tears at 2 in the morning without telling anyone. She just packed her bag and walked out into the rain. The second lasted 5 days. She left with a bruised hand where a small shoe had been thrown with surprising accuracy. The third lasted 11 days. She sat down, wrote a letter, placed it on the kitchen counter, and never came back. The letter said only, "I am sorry. I cannot. I am truly sorry." The fourth called her sister from the estate bathroom on day 3 and whispered, "She is not a child. I do not know what she is. But I am leaving." The fifth did not even make it to day 2. The sixth had a background in child psychology, 15 years of experience, and a reputation for handling the most difficult cases in the state. She lasted exactly 36 hours. When Dante Ferraro's driver picked her up to take her home, she sat in the back seat the whole way and said nothing. She looked straight ahead. She did not blink very often. People said she never took another difficult case after that. Nobody in New York could handle Aria Ferraro. And everyone knew it. It was not just the nannies. Aria had caused a scene in a Michelin-starred restaurant so bad that 11 other tables requested their checks and left in the middle of their meals. She had refused to speak for an entire week, not a single word, to protest a pair of shoes she did not like. She had told her father's most important business partner, a man who made grown men sweat when he entered a room, that his handshake was weak and his watch was ugly. The partner had laughed nervously and left early. And through all of it, Dante Ferraro, the man who ran the most powerful family in New York, the man whose name made police captains straighten their backs and politicians pick up the phone immediately, could do nothing. Because Aria was his daughter. And underneath all of it, underneath every broken rule and thrown shoe and nanny driven away, she was a little girl who had lost her mother 14 months ago. And she was still looking for someone who would not leave. Angelo's Diner on East 34th Street never closed. It sat between a closed shoe shop and a pharmacy with a light that flickered. The booths were old and torn at the edges. The coffee was always slightly burnt. The tips were thin enough that Maya Collins counted them twice every night, hoping the number would change. It never did. Maya was 26. She had worked at Angelo's for 2 years. Before that, a bakery. Before that, a grocery store. She had 3 jobs, $62 in her bank account, and a mother at home whose hospital bills had become a second wall in their small apartment, solid and impossible and always there. Her shoes had a small hole near the left toe. She had covered it with a piece of cardboard on the inside. It worked fine unless it rained. Tonight was dry. Tonight she just had to survive until 3 a.m., count her tips, and go home. She was wiping down the counter at 11:47 when the door opened. The diner changed immediately. Not the lights. Not the music. Something else. The air. 2 large men in dark coats walked in and said nothing. They checked every corner. Every exit. Every face. The truck driver in booth 3 felt them looking and put his head down over his pie. The old man near the window folded his newspaper very carefully and became very interested in the table. Then the men stepped aside. Dante Ferraro walked in. Maya had seen his face in newspapers. Everyone in New York had. He was tall, dark-haired, wearing a black suit that cost more than her rent. His face was the kind of face you remembered. Sharp jaw. Cold eyes. A quietness about him that was louder than any sound. His name appeared in newspapers next to words like alleged and under investigation. But nothing ever stuck to Dante Ferraro. Politicians answered his calls first. Police captains appeared in photos with him at charity dinners. And men who crossed him moved out of the city very suddenly and never explained why. Maya's hand went still on the counter. Not because of him. Because of the little girl holding his hand. She wore a dark red dress. White buttons. Black braids. And a scowl on her face so deep and so serious that it made both bodyguards look friendly. Aria Ferraro. Maya knew the name. The whole city did. "I want to leave," Aria announced. Her voice filled the whole diner. "We eat first," Dante said. Low. Controlled. "I am not hungry." "Sit down, Aria." "No." The bodyguards did not move. The truck driver did not look up. The old man turned to page 8 of a newspaper he had already finished. Dante guided Aria to the booth near the window. She sat, but she crossed her arms and stared at the table like it had personally offended her. Maya took a breath. "Just take the order. Do not look him in the eyes. Get through the night." She picked up her notepad and walked over. One bodyguard stepped forward. His hand moved toward his coat. Maya did not stop walking. She reached the table and looked at Aria first. "Hi," she said. Aria looked up. "Your shoes are wet." "Left one has a small hole," Maya said. "I thought it was dry tonight but the kitchen floor got mopped an hour ago." Aria stared at her. This was not the answer she expected. Nobody answered her like this, direct and calm, like the conversation was normal. "Does it bother you?" Aria asked. "The wet sock?" "A little," Maya admitted. "But I have 2 more hours so I stopped thinking about it." A pause. Very small. But real. Dante was watching Maya with an expression she could not name. Like a man who had seen a lot of things and was now seeing something new. "Coffee," he said. "Black. And she will have." "Hot chocolate," Aria said loudly. "But I want extra marshmallows. And if there are no marshmallows I want to leave." Dante blinked. This was new. Aria had just ordered something. "We have marshmallows," Maya said, writing it down. She walked back to the counter. 5 minutes later she returned with the coffee and a mug of hot chocolate with a small mountain of marshmallows on top. Aria looked at it. She picked up the mug. She took one sip. Then she put it down hard. It tilted. It tipped. The hot chocolate went directly across the table and off the edge, straight onto Maya's uniform. Hot and brown and soaking through the fabric immediately. The diner went completely silent. The truck driver froze with his fork halfway to his mouth. The old man stopped turning his page. Both bodyguards went rigid. Dante was on his feet before the mug stopped rolling. Everyone was waiting. This was the moment. This was always the moment that broke people. Maya stood completely still. The hot chocolate dripped from her uniform onto the floor. She looked down at herself. Then she looked at Aria. Aria was sitting back with her arms crossed. Her chin was up. Her eyes were hard. This was the face she made before people started shouting. Before they called her impossible and terrible and a monster. She was waiting for it. She was already braced for it. Maya put her notepad on the table. She pulled out a spare cloth from her apron. She began wiping the table, slowly, calmly, like she was cleaning up after any ordinary spill. Then she stopped. She leaned down until she was completely level with Aria's face. Nose to nose. Eye to eye. The whole diner held its breath. Dante's hand moved toward his jacket, and then stopped. One bodyguard actually took a small step back. Maya looked straight into Aria's eyes and said, very quietly and very seriously. I know you did that on purpose. Aria's mouth opened slightly. Nobody had ever said that out loud before. Not like this. Not looking straight at her without flinching. And, Maya continued, in the same calm voice, I am not going to yell at you. I am not going to cry. And I am not going to leave. So if that was the plan, it did not work. Total silence. The truck driver put his fork down. The old man forgot about his newspaper entirely. Dante Ferraro, the man who made police captains nervous, who had never in his adult life been surprised, stood completely still with his hand halfway to his jacket and stared at a waitress with a wet uniform and holes in her shoes. Aria stared at Maya. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then Maya straightened up, picked up the empty mug, and said in her normal voice. I will bring you a new one. Same marshmallows? Aria's mouth closed. Something in her face changed. The hard look cracked, just slightly. Just at the edges. Yes, Aria said. Very quietly. Maya nodded and walked back to the counter. Behind her, she heard the truck driver slowly pick up his fork again. She heard the old man turn his page. She heard the two bodyguards breathe. And she heard Dante Ferraro sit back down in the booth. When she brought the second hot chocolate, she set it in the very center of the table, away from the edge. Aria looked at it. Then she picked it up with both hands and drank it slowly and carefully. She did not spill it. When Dante put money on the table at the end, $500 for a $12 bill, Maya counted out $12 in change and placed it next to his hand. The bill was 12, she said. He looked at the change. Then at her. You know who I am. I live in New York, Maya said. I am poor, not uninformed. Aria made a sound. It might have been a laugh. Just a small one. She covered her mouth immediately. Dante looked at his daughter. Then back at Maya. He put $12 in his wallet and stood up. As Aria slid out of the booth, she looked up at Maya. Your sock is still wet, Aria said. I know, Maya said. One more hour. Aria looked at her for a long moment. Then she turned and walked to the door. Dante followed. At the door, he stopped. He did not turn around. But his voice carried back clearly across the silent diner. What is your name? Maya Collins, she said. He nodded once. And walked out. Maya stood at the empty booth for a moment. Then she picked up her cloth and kept wiping tables. She did not know it yet. But she had just done the impossible thing. The thing nobody had done in 14 months. She had made Aria Ferraro feel seen, without making her feel ashamed. And the most feared man in New York City had noticed. 2 days later, Maya came home from her laundromat shift at noon to find a man outside her apartment door. He was large. Dark coat. The face of a man who had seen many things and said very little about any of them. One of the bodyguards from the diner. Maya's first thought was to run. Her second thought was that her legs were too tired. Miss Collins, the man said. Surprisingly polite. My name is Leo. Mr. Ferraro would like to offer you a position. I have a position, Maya said. 3 of them. He held out a white envelope. Please open it. Maya took it. Inside was one card. Clean paper, simple words. Position, guardian and companion to Aria Ferraro, age 8. Salary, $9,000 per week. Benefits, full medical coverage, employee and one dependent. Housing, provided on estate grounds. Maya read it 3 times. $9,000 a week. That was more than she made in a full year across all 3 jobs. Her mother's surgery estimate was $85,000. She had $62 saved. She had been trying to solve this math problem for months and there was no solution. Your mother's outstanding balance at St. Catherine's Hospital has been paid in full as of this morning, Leo said quietly. Mr. Ferraro wanted you to know, that happens whether you say yes or no. It is not a condition. It is already done. Maya looked up. He paid it before I even answered. Yes. Why? Leo looked at her steadily. Because he could. And because he wanted to. Maya looked down the hallway at her apartment door. Behind it, her mother was sleeping in the armchair with 3 blankets because the heat came slow in this building. She thought about what saying yes meant. She thought about what saying no meant. Give me 5 minutes, she said. I need to get my coat. The Ferraro estate sat behind 3 sets of iron gates on a private road that did not appear on normal maps. The house at the end looked like a different century, gray stone walls, tall narrow windows, grounds that were perfectly kept in every direction. Beautiful the way a locked door is beautiful. Dante met her in the library. Dark wood, fireplace burning low, shelves from floor to ceiling. He looked different here than in the diner. More settled. Like the house had been built around him. You came, he said. You paid my mother's hospital bills before I answered, Maya said. That was either very generous or very manipulative. Both, he said. Not apologizing. What happened to the others? Maya asked. The 6 before me. They left. Why? Because Aria pushes people until they go. She has been doing it since her mother died. She pushes. They leave. She learns that people always leave. He looked at the fire. It is a problem I have not been able to solve. She is not a problem to be solved, Maya said. Dante looked at her. She is a child who is testing whether anyone will stay, Maya said. That is different. A long silence. You did not flinch in the diner, Dante said. When she spilled the drink. When she looked at you waiting for the reaction. You did not give it to her. I grew up in a house where things went wrong fast, Maya said simply. I learned early that flinching does not help. He placed a contract on the desk. Simple terms. Clear rules. She read every word. One condition, she said. He raised an eyebrow. My mother recovers here after her surgery. You have a medical team on the grounds. I checked. You checked. I researched things that matter to me. Something moved in his face. Quietly. Agreed, he said. She signed. Somewhere deep in the house, she heard small feet running fast across a floor. Then a door closing. Then silence. She knows you are here, Dante said. Is she hiding? Almost certainly. Maya set the pen down. Then I will go find her. It took Maya 16 minutes. Aria was behind a large chair in the upstairs reading room, knees pulled up, a book open across her legs. She was not reading. She was watching the door. Maya walked in. She sat on the floor against the opposite wall. She did not say Aria's name. She did not ask any questions. She pulled a book from the nearest shelf and began reading aloud in a calm, steady voice. The book was about the deep ocean, creatures that live so far below the surface that no light reaches them. She read about how some of them make their own light in the complete dark. After 6 minutes, the book across Aria's knees lowered slightly. After 10 minutes, that part is not right. Anglerfish do not glow. The bacteria on them glows. You are completely correct, Maya said, without looking up. Good catch. I know a lot about fish, Arya said. Tell me something else I got wrong, Maya said. Arya came out from behind the chair. She sat on the floor. She talked about fish for 35 minutes, serious, detailed, and slightly bossy about facts, which Maya found entirely wonderful. Maya did not ask about the nannies. She did not mention the diner. She did not try to discuss feelings. She just listened. Completely. Like there was nothing more interesting in the world. That evening, Arya ate her full dinner without incident. Dante watched from the end of the table. He said nothing. But he did not take his eyes off Maya for a long time. 2 weeks in, Maya started paying attention to Sarto. He was Dante's business lawyer. Polished, well-dressed, always smiling. He visited 4 times a week. He brought Arya candy each time and called her little one in a voice that was too warm to be real. I do not like him, Arya told Maya on their 4th day. They were building with blocks on the playroom floor. Why? Maya asked. He asks me questions about Daddy. Where he goes. Who visits. What we talk about at dinner. Arya stacked a block carefully. I stopped answering after the 2nd time. Good girl, Maya said. She began watching Sarto the way she used to watch difficult customers in the diner, quietly, without showing it. She noticed he arrived when Dante was on calls. She noticed he walked certain hallways slowly, like he was measuring them. She noticed he had twice tried to be alone with Arya. Then one afternoon she passed the east hallway and a door was open 2 inches. Sarto's voice, low and clear, the girl is the leverage. He will not move if she is at risk. Make sure the route is confirmed for Thursday. Maya walked past without slowing. That night she sat across from Dante in his office and told him everything. Every date. Every detail. Every word from the hallway. Calm. Clear. No rushing. Dante listened without moving. When she finished, his face was very still. The kind of still that means the opposite of peace. How long have you known? He asked. I suspected for a week. I confirmed it today. I came to you tonight. Why not sooner? Because suspicion is not fact, Maya said. I did not want to bring you a feeling. I wanted to bring you something real. Dante looked at her for a long moment. Most people in this house are afraid to bring me problems, he said. I know, Maya said. I am not most people. No, he said quietly. You are not. He told her to keep Arya close. She said she already planned to. She left. Maya. She stopped at the door. Thank you, he said. Like the words cost him something. She nodded once and walked out. It happened on a Thursday. 11 p.m. Maya was finishing a chapter with Arya when every light in the estate cut out at once. Total darkness. The backup power did not come on. Wrong. That was wrong. Maya was off the bed in 2 seconds. Arya. Up. Hold my hand. Quiet now. Arya took her hand without asking why. Maya moved through the dark room by memory. 2 weeks of learning every inch of this house, every doorway, every piece of furniture, which floorboards made noise. She reached the wall panel near the closet. Button. Code. By feel. The panel opened. Small room. Water. Light. Reinforced door. In, Maya said. Are you coming in too? In a moment. Go, Arya. Maya. I always come back. You know that. In. Arya went in. Maya closed the panel. She found Dante at the bottom of the stairs. Alive. A cut above his eyebrow. A gun in his hand. Leo beside him. Aria? He said it before anything else. Locked in the panic room. Maya kept her voice low. How many inside? 4. Sarto opened the east gate. There are more at the perimeter. The service corridor connects to the garage, Maya said immediately. Manual lock only. Cannot be overridden remotely. I checked it on my first week. Dante stared at her. You checked it. Every place I work, I know the exits. Old habit. For one moment in the dark he looked at her with something completely open. Get Aria, he said. Leo goes with you. Service corridor to the garage. Go. Maya went back through the dark house the long way. She reached the panel. 2 taps. Aria. It is me. The panel opened. Aria came out and took Maya's hand before it was offered. They moved fast together. Aria did not cry. Did not slow down. She held on like she had been holding things in the dark her whole life and knew how. At the end of the service corridor a man stepped out of the shadows. Not one of Dante's men. He reached for his radio. Maya had noted the fire extinguisher on the wall on her first day. She noted all exits. All safety equipment. Always. She pulled it from the mount. One hard swing at his arm. Then the release, directly at his face. White powder, total blindness. He went down. Run, Maya told Aria. They ran. Leo had the car in the garage. They got in. 3 minutes later Dante appeared, more blood, but walking straight, eyes sharp. He looked into the back seat. Aria was pressed against Maya's side. Face in Maya's shoulder. Maya's arm around her. Dante did not speak for a long moment. He started the car and drove. The safe house was 2 hours away. Plain walls, simple rooms, no address on any map. Aria fell asleep with her head in Maya's lap within the hour. Maya did not move. She sat in the lamplight and breathed slowly. Dante came out of the back room. He sat across from them. He watched his daughter sleep for a long time. You hit a man with a fire extinguisher, he said finally. He was going to call the others. You planned for it. I noticed it my first week. I always notice those things. Silence. Your mother will be in the estate's medical wing tomorrow, he said. My doctor will be with her through the whole recovery personally. Maya looked up. I arranged it an hour ago, he said. She looked back at Aria. She took one long breath. Thank you, she said. You went back for her, Dante said. Through the dark house alone. I told you to go straight to the corridor. She was in the panic room alone. You could have kept going. Leo was with you. She was alone, Maya said simply. I was not going to leave her alone. Dante was quiet for a long time. People who are doing a job run when the lights go out, he said. They protect themselves. I was not doing a job, Maya said. She looked at Aria sleeping. Not anymore. Not for a while now. The room was very still. Dante looked at his daughter. Then at Maya. And something in his face, the wall he had built from grief and years of carrying everything by himself, she could see the edge of it. Just the edge. Just a crack. Get some sleep, he said softly. Maya leaned her head back against the sofa. She did not let go of Aria's hand. Outside, the wind moved through the trees. Inside, for the first time in a very long time, the house felt like it was breathing. Sarto was found at a hotel in New Jersey the next morning. What happened in the hours after that was not Maya's world. Dante was clear about that line and she respected it. She did not ask. She did not want to know. What she knew, Sarto talked. He gave up names and accounts and the full plan, every detail. The man behind it all faced a choice between Dante Ferraro and federal prison. He chose prison. A careful and anonymous tip made sure investigators found exactly what they needed at a private airstrip at 4 a.m. The case moved fast. The threat collapsed. 3 weeks later they returned to the estate. Arya held Maya's hand the whole first day back. She did not explain it. She did not need to. Maya held on. Arya's room had a reading corner now. 2 walls of shelves, a wide cushioned seat under the window, a yellow lamp that made everything feel warm. Arya had organized every book herself. 3 times. The final system was her own and she was the only one who fully understood it. The ocean book was on the top shelf. Because that is where we started, she had said. Maya's mother, Ellen, recovered in the estate's medical wing. She walked the garden path now, slowly, with a cane, in the mornings. She baked when she felt well and left things in the kitchen with small handwritten notes. The cook, who had always believed he did not like people very much, had framed one of the notes and put it near the stove. On a Saturday morning 4 months after the night the lights went out, Maya was in the kitchen making toast when Dante walked in and sat at the counter without announcing himself, which he had started doing about 6 weeks earlier. She made him coffee. She had learned how he took it in the first week. Arya told me something yesterday, he said. What? She said you are the first person since her mother who does not treat her like something broken. Maya was quiet for a moment. She is not broken, she said. She was never broken. She just needed someone to stop leaving. Dante held his mug with both hands. He looked at the counter. Then at her. That look, steady and real and completely without the wall, had been appearing more often. She had stopped being surprised by it 2 months ago. I know why you stayed, he said. In the diner. When she spilled the drink. When everyone else in that room expected you to run. Why? Because you saw her, he said. Not the behavior. Her. Maya said nothing. Because he was right and she did not need to add anything. Small feet in the hallway. Arya appeared in the kitchen doorway in her pajamas, braids slightly undone, carrying the old stuffed rabbit she refused to give up. She looked at both of them at the kitchen counter. Good, she said. You are both awake. I have a fish fact. Tell us, Maya said. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 for the gills, 1 for the body. When they swim, the main heart actually stops. That seems like a design problem, Dante said. It is efficient, Arya said firmly, climbing onto the stool between them. She reached over without asking and took a piece of Maya's toast. Maya looked at Dante over Arya's head. He was watching his daughter eat with an expression she had only seen on him a handful of times. Open. Warm. Completely at rest. He caught Maya looking. The corner of his mouth moved. She looked back at her coffee. Outside, the morning light came steady through the kitchen windows. Ellen moved slowly along the garden path. The cook sang something in Italian. Arya explained octopus biology to her father with great authority. Maya sat in the middle of all of it. She thought about the diner. The burnt coffee. The $62. The hole in her shoe. She thought about a little girl who had destroyed 6 adults in 4 months, not because she was a monster, but because she was heartbroken and terrified and testing whether anyone would ever stay. Maya had stayed. Not because of the money. Not because the bills were paid. Not even because Dante Ferraro looked at her the way he did now. She had stayed because of 4 words she had said in a diner at midnight to a little girl who was waiting to be abandoned again. I am not leaving. That was the impossible thing. Not the fire extinguisher. Not the dark corridor. Not facing down the most feared man in New York with a stained apron and holes in her shoes. The impossible thing was staying when every other person had gone. And sometimes, in a world full of people who run, staying is the most powerful thing a person can do. If you were Maya, standing in that diner, hot chocolate soaking through your uniform, the whole room watching, would you have stayed? Or would you have walked away? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story stayed with you, please hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss another story. Thank you for watching.